Breaking tonight. The headline nobody wanted to read, but one that has the entire internet buzzing with speculation, fear, and disbelief. Doctors have officially confirmed that King Harris, the son of rap legend T.I. and Tiny, may never wake up. Yes, you heard that correctly. What was once just a rumor whispered across social media timelines has now been confirmed by sources close to the family and medical professionals. The Harris household, a dynasty built on fame, wealth, and influence, is now living through their darkest nightmare. The family's hope has been shattered, their prayers seemingly unanswered, and yet the questions swirling around this tragedy are only getting louder. But here's the chilling thought that refuses to go away. Is this just a tragic twist of fate? A medical emergency that spiraled beyond control? Or is there something far darker lurking in the shadows behind hospital curtains? Ask yourself this: how does the son of rap royalty, a young man born with every possible advantage, someone flaunting his wild lifestyle on every corner of the internet, suddenly end up in a situation so grim that doctors are whispering the word forever? Was it coincidence, bad luck, or simply karma finally coming to collect on the reckless choices he made? That's the question rattling everyone tonight. Social media is already on fire with speculation, with tweets, TikToks, YouTube breakdowns, and shady Reddit threads painting a picture so chaotic that it feels like the beginning of a Netflix true crime documentary. Some trolls are already mocking the family, writing things like "he had it coming," as though tragedy is entertainment. But others, though, are crying foul play and suggesting that what the public is being told is only half the story, or maybe not even the real story at all. What makes this case even more disturbing is the sense that people were waiting for this to happen. For years, King Harris has carried the reputation of the Harris family's black sheep, the wild child who never played by the rules, who sought attention and thrived on controversy. So now, as he lies unconscious in a hospital bed, people are treating it like a movie they already predicted the ending for. But here's the problem. Life is not a movie, and this isn't entertainment. This is a real young man fighting for his life while his family falls apart behind closed doors. And yet, even in tragedy, the world is already asking, was King Harris doomed from the start? They say fame can buy you anything in this world: cars, clothes, homes, and luxuries beyond imagination. But fame can't buy you peace of mind. And in the case of King Harris, it seems fame didn't even buy him protection. Born into one of the most powerful and visible families in hip-hop, King was supposed to have every door in the world open for him. With T.I. as his father, a Grammy-winning rapper and businessman, and Tiny as his mother, a respected singer and reality TV star, King grew up in a household that was the very definition of celebrity privilege. For most people, that kind of life would be considered a blessing, but for King, it seems to have been a double-edged sword. Instead of walking down a path of stability, discipline, and legacy, King found himself constantly drawn to chaos. He wasn't just the son of T.I. and Tiny, he was the child who thrived on pushing boundaries, who needed to carve out his own identity, even if that meant running headfirst into trouble. And trouble, as we all know, has followed him like a shadow. Viral clips of King getting into fights at restaurants became routine news. Instagram lives of him talking recklessly, dissing people twice his age, and acting as though he had already earned OG status in the streets became the norm. It didn't take long for King to develop a reputation as the Harris family's loose cannon, the wild child, the rebel, the boy who, despite all his family's fame and fortune, seemed determined to prove himself as something tougher, edgier, and rawer. For some, it was entertaining to watch. For others, it was a tragedy waiting to unfold. And now, as he fights for his life, those very same antics are being replayed online as evidence that this was the ending people expected all along. But here's where things start to get uncomfortable. This isn't just about a teenager making reckless decisions. No, the whispers coming from insiders are painting a picture far more disturbing. According to sources close to the Harris circle, King wasn't simply making mistakes. He was surrounding himself with dangerous people, engaging in activities he had no business being near, and letting his pride blind him to the snakes circling around him. One insider chillingly put it like this: he thought he was grown. He thought he could move like the OGs, but he wasn't ready for the snakes that come with that life. Those words hit hard, because they revealed the truth. King was trying to live like a man twice his age, but he didn't have the experience, the wisdom, or the protection to survive in that world. And the evidence is piling up. Social media detectives are piecing together a timeline of King's last few days before the hospital tragedy, and what they're finding makes your skin crawl. Just days before he ended up in critical condition, King was allegedly spotted with a crew known for their deep ties to Atlanta's underground party scene. This wasn't just a casual night out with friends. This was a world of excess, substances, shady deals, and people with nothing to lose. Photos, grainy videos, and cryptic captions are now resurfacing, and the story they tell isn't pretty. King wasn't just partying, he was surrounded by chaos, and according to some, he was being used as a pawn in a much larger, much darker game. Meanwhile, the Harris family is living a nightmare. Broken doesn't even begin to describe it. T.I., a man who has built his entire career on controlling narratives and protecting his empire, suddenly looks powerless. This is a man who once commanded stages, audiences, and headlines. Now he's standing beside his son's hospital bed, unable to do anything but pray. Tiny, usually the one who tries to keep the family's image polished for reality TV and the media, has been described by sources as inconsolable. Imagine being a mother who built a home of influence, who gave her child every opportunity, to now be told by doctors the words no parent ever wants to hear. He may never wake up.
And yet, the internet shows no mercy. While the family is begging for a miracle, trolls are dragging up old clips of King's worst moments. One post going viral right now shows him yelling during a heated argument with his father, where he insisted that he didn't want to live like a regular person. He wanted the spotlight, the danger, the fame. The caption reads, "Didn't he say he wanted to live like a gangster? Well, gangsters don't always get happy endings." Thousands of likes, thousands of shares, strangers making entertainment out of the lowest point of this family's life. But here's the part that should really make you uneasy. While fans argue online about whether this is karma or tragedy, insiders are suggesting something else entirely. What if this wasn't just a random medical emergency? What if what happened to King was orchestrated? Rumors are swirling about substances being slipped into drinks, about older influences pressuring him into risky behavior, and even whispers that someone wanted to teach him a lesson. One supposed leak claims he was set up, plain and simple. The goal wasn't to kill him, but to humble him, to put fear into the boy who thought he was untouchable. If that's true, the irony is haunting, because instead of being humbled, King is now fighting for his life. And let's not forget, King made enemies, not just online trolls, but real people in Atlanta who didn't take kindly to his tough talk. When you're the son of a legend like T.I., your words carry extra weight, sometimes too much weight. And when you mix that with King's fiery personality, you've got a recipe for disaster. Could this tragedy have been the result of years of arrogance and recklessness finally catching up to him? Or did someone pull the strings to make sure he paid the ultimate price for his behavior? The sad reality is that this isn't the first time the Harris family has been dragged into chaos. T.I. himself has faced his share of scandals, from legal troubles to explosive feuds with other rappers. Tiny has been caught in the whirlwind of cheating rumors and messy public drama. The Harris brand has always walked a fine line between glamorous celebrity and messy reality TV dysfunction. And King, he became the poster child for that chaos, whether he liked it or not. However, Atlanta's midnight silence has been shattered not by fireworks or celebration, but by the cold, haunting reality unfolding at 3 o'clock in the morning. Inside a sterile, intensive care unit, King Harris, the son of rap legend T.I., is clinging to life. Machines surround his fragile body, tubes, wires, and beeping monitors forming the only bridge between him and death. Doctors have delivered the most terrifying words a family could ever hear. Be ready for anything. Those words, simple yet devastating, carry the weight of doom. It's a statement no parent should ever hear, and yet for T.I. and Tiny, it has become their waking nightmare. Hospital insiders say that the family has been warned, time and time again, that within the next 24 hours, everything could change forever. The weight of tragedy struck hardest when Tiny, King's mother, collapsed to the ground in anguish. Her screams echoed through the long white hallways of the hospital, bouncing off the cold walls, piercing the silence like a dagger. That moment, raw, painful, and unfiltered, was caught on camera. Within hours, it went viral. Millions of fans around the globe watched, and millions more cried as her grief played out on their screens. It wasn't the kind of celebrity clip meant for entertainment. This was heartbreak in its purest form. The world had grown used to seeing King Harris in headlines for his wild behavior and controversies, but now the world was watching something else entirely, the brutal unraveling of a family's hope. And yet, as tragic as that viral moment was, it only scratched the surface of the horror story unfolding behind the curtains. A leaked medical report surfaced online, spreading like wildfire across forums and gossip blogs. What it contained was even more chilling than the initial reports. According to the documents, King's injuries were not consistent with a typical jailhouse fight. The wounds were far too deliberate, deep cuts, bruises, and patterns that suggested systematic punishment, and marks that pointed directly to torture. It was no longer possible to dismiss what happened to King as random violence. Someone, somewhere, wanted to make an example of him. Someone wanted to send a message. But then came the audio leak, a whisper that has now become infamous. In the clip, allegedly recorded inside the prison, a guard's voice can be heard saying, "The order came from above. We just made the way clear." That single line has thrown the internet into chaos. Who was above? Who held the kind of power to orchestrate an attack inside prison walls, leaving King Harris on the brink of death? Was it a rival crew? An enemy he'd made during his chaotic rise to fame? Or something more sinister tied to the industry itself? The questions keep multiplying, and with each question comes another theory. The resemblance of his injuries to an execution rather than a fight has fueled conspiracies that King wasn't just in the wrong place at the wrong time. No, he was targeted. And when the whispers of organized retaliation start to spread, it paints a picture of King Harris being trapped in something far bigger than himself. As if that weren't enough, rumors began to circulate online about leaked ICU surveillance footage. The whispers claim that masked figures had been spotted sneaking into King's hospital room late at night, tampering with his life support systems. Although no mainstream media outlets have verified these reports, the rumor itself has been enough to send fans into a frenzy. If it's true, then King isn't even safe within the walls of the hospital. His very survival is at risk, not only from the injuries he suffered in prison, but from the possibility of ongoing attempts on his life.
Fans flooded social media with heartbreak, anger, and disbelief. Many began asking the same haunting question: is this part of a bigger plan to permanently silence King Harris, or is it just a tragic misfortune spiraling out of control? The uncertainty only deepens the pain because silence from officials and the hospital has left the family to fight in the dark. Meanwhile, outside the hospital, T.I., the man who has built his career on strength, bravado, and control, stood before the cameras looking broken. His hands trembled, his eyes were swollen with tears, and his voice cracked as he begged the world, "He's just a kid. Please don't let them take my son away." Those words didn't come from a rap icon or a businessman. They came from a father, stripped bare of all the armor his career had built. The world saw T.I. not as a superstar, but as a desperate parent pleading for his child's life. Inside the ICU, the reality was grim. King's frail body lay motionless, connected to a web of wires and machines. Doctors and nurses rushed in and out, monitoring the delicate balance that kept him alive. Witnesses described Tiny collapsing again and again, her screams growing weaker with each fall until she lost her voice completely. Nurses tried to console her, but how do you comfort a mother who may lose her son? That moment, captured by someone nearby, spread across social platforms like wildfire. It became one of the saddest, most shared clips of the year. On Twitter, hashtags like Justice for King Harris and hashtag Prayers for King began trending worldwide. Millions of people prayed for his recovery. But as the prayers rose, so did the whispers of conspiracy. Another leaked medical document added fuel to the speculation, suggesting King's injuries had the precision of deliberate punishment. These weren't wounds from a random scuffle. They were consistent with systematic abuse, with torture. And again, the whispers of that prison guard's haunting statement resurfaced. The order came from above. Who could possibly give that order? Was it prison officials? Was it rivals who had long despised King's bravado? Or could it be tied to something deeper, powerful industry players ensuring that King would never live long enough to disrupt the order of things? The whispers grew louder when a whistleblower came forward, claiming to have seen blurry CCTV footage of hooded individuals entering King's ICU room at night. In the footage, one figure appeared to tamper near King's bed, while another kept watch at the door. Though unverified, the claims were enough to shake the internet to its core. If King Harris wasn't safe behind prison walls, and he wasn't safe in a hospital bed, then where could he possibly be safe? Meanwhile, the Harris family was unraveling. Insiders described T.I. pacing the hospital corridors in a storm of anger and despair. He lashed out at doctors who dared suggest his son's chances were slim. Tiny, on the other hand, was seen trembling constantly, clinging to King's hand as if holding him would keep him alive. Outside, fans and supporters flooded the streets. Some lit candles, praying for King's recovery. Others held signs that read, "Protect King" and "Justice Now." The air in Atlanta was heavy, thick with both grief and fury. And then came even more devastating revelation. Doctors privately told T.I. and Tiny that King's organs were beginning to fail. They urged the parents to prepare for the worst. That private warning was leaked to the press, sparking another explosion of panic online. Not long after, whispers began circulating that unusual substances had been discovered in King's blood. Analysts suggested poisoning, something that could not have occurred during the initial jail fight, but instead must have happened after he was hospitalized. The implications were chilling. Someone inside the hospital may have been complicit. Soon, anonymous accounts began posting what they claimed were hospital security videos showing hooded men entering King's room late at night. Whether real or doctored, the clips went viral. The image of masked figures looming over King's fragile body became seared into the public imagination. However, Atlanta grips tight as King Harris clings to life. At 3 a.m., the city's stillness was shattered by haunting reports leaking from a sterile ICU room. King Harris, the son of rap legend T.I. and singer Tiny, is now locked in a life-or-death battle that has gripped the world. According to hospital insiders, the family has been delivered the most devastating update imaginable. Prepare for the worst. In the cold, fluorescent-lit corridors of the ICU, machines beep rhythmically, monitoring every fragile breath, every flicker of a heartbeat that hangs by a thread. King's body is connected to life support, his condition deteriorating rapidly. Each pulse is a painful reminder of how close he is to the edge, a stark measure of the thin line between life and death. Doctors have been clear. These next 24 hours are absolutely critical. There is no room for error, no margin for delay, and no certainty.
Witnesses inside the hospital have described scenes so gut-wrenching they almost defy belief. Tiny collapsed to the cold hospital floor, sobbing uncontrollably. That moment, captured by someone nearby, has already gone viral, with millions of fans around the globe praying for a miracle, holding on to hope with trembling hands. But what began as a tragic health scare is now taking on an unsettling, far darker dimension. Leaked medical reports paint a chilling picture of premeditated violence. King's injuries, including deep cuts, methodical bruising, and trauma inconsistent with a standard jail fight, suggest calculated torture rather than a spontaneous brawl. Each mark on his body seems deliberate, each wound telling a story of intent and cruelty. Adding to the terror, an audio clip surfaced online, allegedly capturing a prison guard whispering in a chilling tone, "The order came from above. We just cleared the way." That single sentence has ignited a firestorm on social media. Questions swirl endlessly. Who issued the order? Who could have orchestrated such a vicious attack on a young man barely stepping into adulthood? Why would someone go to such lengths to silence him? The implications are terrifying, and the public's imagination has run wild, connecting dots that may or may not exist. Rumors have begun circulating about an unverified hospital security video allegedly showing masked individuals entering King's room late at night. Whether real or doctored, the clips went viral. The image of masked figures looming over King's fragile body became seared into the public imagination.
However, Atlanta grips tight as King Harris clings to life. At 3 a.m., the city's stillness was shattered by haunting reports leaking from a sterile ICU room. King Harris, the son of rap legend T.I. and singer Tiny Harris, is now locked in a life-or-death battle that has gripped the world. According to hospital insiders, the family has been delivered the most devastating update imaginable: prepare for the worst. In the cold, fluorescent-lit corridors of the ICU, machines beep rhythmically, monitoring every fragile breath, every flicker of a heartbeat that hangs by a thread. King's body is connected to life support, his condition deteriorating rapidly. Each pulse is a painful reminder of how close he is to the edge, a stark measure of the thin line between life and death. Doctors have been clear. These next 24 hours are absolutely critical. There is no room for error, no margin for delay, no certainty. Witnesses inside the hospital have described scenes so gut-wrenching they almost defy belief. Tiny, overcome by despair, collapsed to the cold hospital floor, sobbing uncontrollably. That moment, captured on video, has already gone viral, with millions of fans around the globe praying for a miracle, holding on to hope with trembling hands. But what began as a tragic health scare is now taking on an unsettling, far darker dimension. Leaked medical reports paint a chilling picture of premeditated violence. King's injuries, including deep cuts, methodical bruising, and trauma inconsistent with a standard jail fight, suggest calculated torture rather than a spontaneous brawl. Each mark on his body seems deliberate, each wound telling a story of intent and cruelty. Adding to the terror, an audio clip surfaced online, allegedly capturing a prison guard whispering in a chilling tone, "The order came from above. We just cleared the way." That single sentence has ignited a firestorm on social media. Questions swirl endlessly. Who issued the order? Who could have orchestrated such a vicious attack on a young man barely stepping into adulthood? Why would someone go to such lengths to silence him? The implications are terrifying, and the public's imagination has run wild, connecting dots that may or may not exist. Rumors have begun circulating about an unverified hospital security video allegedly showing masked individuals entering King's ICU room, tampering with his life support. Though the footage remains unconfirmed, the mere suggestion that someone might be threatening his life even within the confines of a hospital has sent shivers down the spine of a city already on edge. Outside Grady Memorial Hospital, the tension is palpable. Crowds have gathered, a sea of candles and protest signs waving in the darkness, while helicopters hover above, capturing the chaos unfolding below.
T.I., distraught and nearly unrecognizable in his grief, stepped out to address the masses, his voice shaking, his hands trembling as he gripped a microphone. "He's just a kid. Don't let them take my son," he pleaded, his words resonating around the city. The clip quickly went viral, trending across every major social media platform, accompanied by hashtags like "Pray for King" and "Justice for K.H. Harris." Yet, not all reactions are sympathetic. Some critics cruelly suggest this is karmic payback for T.I.'s past actions, and online divisions have deepened into a bitter and deeply personal debate, as if public opinion could somehow weigh against the fragile life hanging in that ICU. Meanwhile, inside the hospital, King's condition continues to deteriorate. Once considered critical but stable, he is now experiencing multi-organ failure. Doctors and nurses work in rotating shifts, performing everything possible to stabilize him, while quietly voicing concerns about potential outside sabotage. Even hospital staff are reportedly afraid, not just for King, but for themselves, unsure if the horrors that have already unfolded might extend further. Amid the chaos, social media and the entertainment world are ablaze with speculation. Rumors are circulating that King was targeted because of unreleased music, allegedly calling out powerful figures within the industry. Theories range from betrayal by record labels to interference by government officials. Adding to the family's torment, they have reportedly been asked to review end-of-life documents, papers typically only presented when all hope begins to fade. The implication is devastating. For the Harris family, hope is no longer abstract. It has become a ticking clock, a finite resource slipping away with every passing hour. T.I. is reportedly pacing endlessly, breaking down at any mention of letting go, while Tiny remains inconsolable, trembling and sobbing as her swollen face testifies to hours of grief. The emotional storm has not only shaken the family, but has rippled throughout the entertainment world. Figures like 50 Cent, Meek Mill, and Kanye West have issued cryptic statements, some hinting at dark industry plots, others warning of unseen forces at work, while the silence of other prominent celebrities has fueled speculation further, leaving the public to wonder whether allegiances are being concealed or lives are being protected behind closed doors. Then, the story takes an even darker turn, and a leaked video allegedly shows two hooded figures entering King's ICU room late at night. One approaches the bedside, while the other keeps watch. The footage, though blurry and unverified, suggests that someone may have attempted to interfere with his life support. Within minutes, hashtags like ICU Watch and Protect King Harris began trending globally, as fans and concerned citizens alike demanded answers. How could a child of a music legend be left so vulnerable in a top-tier hospital supposedly dedicated to saving lives? Meanwhile, tensions outside the hospital are boiling over. Families and friends argue, emotions running so high that Tiny's relatives reportedly blame T.I.'s past decisions for the tragedy. T.I., enraged, snapped back, "This isn't karma, this is murder." The confrontation, caught on camera and rapidly disseminated online, intensified public division and outrage. A leaked audio clip from an alleged senior Georgia prison official has sent shockwaves across social media, adding a terrifying layer to the already unfolding nightmare. In a muffled voice, the speaker warns, if the boy talks, everything crumbles. He can't walk out of there alive. Though the clip remains unverified, it sparked immediate panic and fear, reinforcing a belief that King wasn't attacked simply because of who he is, but because of what he knows. T.I., consumed with anger and desperation, publicly declared, "My son is being hunted by a system that would rather silence him than protect him. This isn't a tragedy, it's a hit." The internet, meanwhile, remains bitterly divided. Some empathize with T.I.'s anguish, while others accuse him of exaggeration for sympathy. Then came the revelation that shook the world. An anonymous nurse reported that King's ventilator was mysteriously shut off for several seconds in the middle of the night. Alarm bells rang, yet when administrators attempted to review surveillance footage, it had vanished without explanation. Was it a technical glitch or a deliberate erasure? Fans around the globe have spiraled into conspiracy theories, speculating about industry sabotage, rival conflicts, or even a mafia-style cover-up. The truth seems almost impossible to discern, shrouded in a fog of fear, uncertainty, and suspicion. Celebrity voices have joined the chorus. Cardi B, tearful, posted on Instagram, "That baby don't deserve none of this. Pray for that boy." Snoop Dogg went live with a chilling statement. "Protect your kids. They're coming for all of us." These words have only fueled fears that a far larger and more sinister story is unfolding behind closed doors. Meanwhile, Grady Memorial Hospital has transformed into a literal conflict zone. Protesters storm the entrance, chanting for King's safety, while police in riot gear respond, turning what should be a place of healing into a battlefield. In the side, T.I. and Tiny refuse to leave King's bedside. T.I., having not slept or eaten for over 24 hours, paces the hallways whispering prayers, while Tiny grips her son's hand so tightly that nurses must gently ask her to let go in order to provide critical care. Time is slipping away, and the cold clinical terms of the doctors, multi-organ failure and irreversible damage, pierce through the family's hope like shards of glass.
T.I.'s rage and grief reached a breaking point. Witnesses say he exploded in the ICU hallway, punching walls, shouting at doctors, and demanding that they do everything possible to save his son. Tiny collapsed outside the ICU, clutching a rosary, sobbing uncontrollably as friends and loved ones held her upright. That footage went viral, described by fans as one of the most soul-crushing moments of the year. And then, a hacker group uploaded what they claimed were internal medical files, showing traces of unapproved toxins in King's blood, substances not listed in any authorized treatment. Their caption read, "They're not trying to save King, they're finishing him off." Violence erupted online and on the streets. Protesters clashed with police, live streams racked up millions of views in minutes, and speculation ran wild. The entertainment world responded. 50 Cent accused industry insiders of orchestrating the attack. Meek Mill tweeted, "They silence the future before it can speak." Kanye West warned, "This is what happens when you say no to them. They come for your bloodline." What began as a jailhouse fight had transformed into something far more ominous, a war of secrets, power, and silence. Social media split into factions, one side screaming for justice, the other dismissing the events as divine retribution. Inside the ICU, however, there is no debate, only beeping monitors, sterile walls, and a family drowning in grief, watching every heartbeat and every breath slip away. As night blankets Atlanta once again, a leaked ICU feed appeared online, showing masked individuals loitering outside King's room, one holding a metallic case. Whether real or manipulated, the footage terrified millions. Could this be another attempt to silence him permanently? And then came the moment that shattered hearts worldwide. T.I. stepped outside to address the crowd. His voice trembled, his eyes red and swollen from crying, hands shaking as he clutched the microphone. "They told me to prepare for the worst," he said. "But how do you do that? How do you prepare to lose your child? He's in there fighting with everything he's got, and all I can do is beg you, please pray harder than you ever have. He didn't deserve this. None of it." The clip instantly went viral, millions of views pouring in across Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and more. Some fans are calling this poetic justice. The young man who once insisted on living dangerously is now lying in a hospital bed, clinging to life. But poetic or not, it's devastating. Because behind all the headlines, behind all the memes, and behind all the social media speculation, there's still a family crying, a father broken, a mother praying, and a young man whose story might be ending far too soon. So now, the world is left with questions. Was King Harris's downfall inevitable? Was he doomed by his own choices, cursed by his family's chaotic legacy, or targeted by forces far darker than anyone wants to admit? As we wait for updates, one thing is certain. This is no longer just a story about King Harris. This is a cautionary tale about fame, privilege, ego, and the dangers of trying to play a game you're not ready for. And the question haunting everyone tonight is this: will King Harris ever wake up And if he does, what kind of world will he wake up to?